I think Devon was hoping you weren't going to show Engin.
I was so hoping. I was like, oh my God, we finally get to do it right.
So it gets an easy right. He's not even listening. Look at him.
No, damn it.
Come on, Engin. You're cutting your face off there, son. You can't have that. Get the top of your head on screen, lad. What are you doing?
1 second.
There it is. Hey! There he is. Look, have it. No, your top of your head's still cut off, Engin. You're going to have to... Come on, camera adjustment. We're a professional outfit. What's that?
What? I don't hear you. 1 second.
Neil. Engin, can you hear us?
Not real. I mean, just barely.
Can you hear me?
Barely.
Do you have... Engin, have you ever won a WAF championship? What is the reason that you're on this call? Like in even a single class?
Can I get out 1 second, Neil? Call me back. Just 1 second.
Okay, mate. You can't let that... You've got to keep that going. When he comes back on, you do know that. Don't let that die.
I just want to know what the heaviest class he's won in.
Yeah. Let's do this thing, mother fluffers. Ladies and gentlemen. No, that was flat on it. Let's go again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to In the Presence of Greatness. Neil, pick up the fat lad with you in the mother fluffing house. And we're back for more, but this time with a little bit of a twist. I am genuinely honoured to have our guests on the show this week, and I'm going to introduce you to them now, starting with the smallest man on the call. I think he's won a few WAF titles, though, so we'll let him off.
You mean career-wise or the physical appearance?
No, it's got to be... We're going physical.
Don't be sensitive, Engin. Don't be sensitive.
Physical
We're literally talking about the guy who's got the fewest WAF titles.
Career-wise?
The guy who's got the least.
Career-wise is Devon, yeah.
Yeah, career-wise, I don't know, that's going to be a toss-up, but you've got an advantage, Engin, because you're a bit older, I think. I think you're like, what are you now, like 2?
Listen, Engin, we all know success is now measured by YouTube following, so you...
Oh,
yeah, I forgot about that.
Okay?
Yeah, that's that. I think I'm last.
Yeah.
I'm probably last.
Oh, yeah, better.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know him, you love him. It's Engin, the Enigma of Rage, Terzi, right there, against that lovely backdrop of the curtain. At least he's got his head in now. Ladies and gentlemen, also joining us on the call live and direct from Ottawa, Canada, in the frozen north. He's definitely eating, and it is no limits. Devon Larratt. But ladies and gentlemen, a newcomer to In the Presence of Greatness. This guy is a strength legend. And I'm going to go out on a limb here, right? I want to claim him as an arm wrestler. I'm going to say that this guy's an arm wrestler. In fact, he's the guy, he's an arm wrestler. He's one of our guys, but he's our best bencher. That's what we're putting forward as. And he's got a pretty good bench, let me tell you now. The former world bench press record holder, Eric Spoto, is in the mother fluffing house from Sin City. And check that for a forearm, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of groundwork here. And I'm going to ask Eric to fill in the details because, as far as I was aware, Eric, you were arm wrestling before you were benching competitively. Is that an accurate statement, buddy?
Oh, definitely.
There you go.
I've been arm wrestling my whole life.
Sorry, guys, we're claiming him. Spoto's one of our boys. That's it. Just happens to be red hot at benching. Get in. And he's the perfect guy to have on this episode, ladies and gents, because we've had a lot of questions asking us to address a certain issue. Now, to set this up a little bit, as I say, I want to get Devon to sort of introduce what happened on his recent trip over to Dubai. Because the nature of what we're going to talk about today is the importance of strength, of the freak element of strength within an individual, and what can be achieved or how important is that in arm wrestling. Or in any strength sport, but focused around arm wrestling. So, Devon, a lot of information come out this week particularly, sort of by accident really, after the Larry Wheels and Schoolboy encounter, it's fair to say that it detracted a bit of the shine from that encounter. The fact that a man that I believe you pretty much discovered while you were over there nicked the limelight a little bit. Do you want to just fill people in? For those who don't know, just tell people about the man we're speaking of here.
Okay. Neil, can I ask something?
I expected nothing less, dude.
Remember last time we talked, we were talking about the armband thing, and then you were talking about a guy that, you couldn't take his hand but tired and hardly beat. Is this the guy, same guy, Khalid?
Yeah. This is, I think so. I don't remember the conversation that well, but were we talking about my trip to Dubai where I met that guy?
Yeah, you told me that there was a guy. You couldn't take his hand, but
that's right.
You said you tired him and then hardly beat him. Yeah,
that's right. This is the same guy.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, everybody here has arm wrestled probably tens of thousands of people by now. Right. So we've touched a lot of the population, and you guys know just within seconds of touching someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you
get an idea
sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you get a good feel.
Yeah, like I'm at a party, I'm wherever, I shake that guy's hand, and I'm like, this guy is up there on the strength in the strength world, and I mean. I arm wrestle people all around the world. I touch thousands of hands. I go over. So the story with this guy is he's a mechanic in Dubai. So yeah, comes from Cameroon. He's dirt poor. Okay. He's working for like $300 a week in a mechanic repair shop. And, apparently, so everybody's freaking out about the date, like exactly when, but, so this guy has been the strong guy in the back of the shop. So when people show up to the shop and whenever they talk about strength or whatever, they're like, yeah, we got a guy in the back. Right?
So he's like the legend of the environment. He's crafted in. We all know that guy, don't we?
Right.
You go to a place. I'm sure you've encountered it, Eric, with when you've been around bench meets and powerlifting meets. Everybody knows that guy, that one weirdo, that freak. But oftentimes, it's fair to say they don't actually meet the expectation. They get this build up, and then the guy shows up, and you're like, nah.
Because we all know the guy who's never been beat in arm wrestling, right?
Yeah.
And he always sucks once he meets a real arm wrestler, right?
Correct.
Right. So
unless.
Exactly. And that's why
suck.
it's funny, because we got the bell curve, right? We got the bell curve, and we talk about the outliers. We talk about the 1%. We talk about the 0.1%. And then you go down until you got a guy who's beating his dad when he's 10 years old or something, right, Eric?
13, but yeah.
Yeah. Eric, he's not your dad. I love you. I love you. I love you.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Alwa got pulled out to a couple local competitions. Anyways, so when they found out that I was in town, they're like, we got to get this guy to Devon. And right away, I shook his hand and I was like, oh my God. Right away, I'm like, his hand is longer than mine, significantly thicker than mine, more muscular than mine.
Mm-hmm. Devon, and this guy and Larry never met each other?
Never. They never met. Okay.
So he wasn't a member of Larry's team?
No, there's all sorts of crazy rumors flying around. People are saying he's alive. No, this guy is a mechanic. He did not work out with weights. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
People are so upset.
That part is surprising.
I'm upset.
Because he looked like bodybuilder, he just like with shoulders.
I'm so mad about it. I've freaking trained my whole life, and all I got, and again, I don't want to pull it out because you're even worse. and I don't want to ruin this conversation right from the beginning.
Yeah, show me those skinny arms, yeah.
He's a monster. He's
how?
You can see it though, Engin. Have you seen the guy?
How you do like mechanic job and having those shoulders and everything, that part is interesting. Also, people says that, he looks like he knows what he is doing in arm wrestling.
That's the even crazier thing.
That's amazing. To me. He had a good way, you know, just natural. A little bit started to pull after he met Devon, so it's normal that he came to this level, you know. He didn't look like he knows what he's doing.
He's one of those guys, though, who right away, you know, like, he's comfortable. He's not like, you know how some guys are strong and it's kind of awkward? This guy, totally natural in every pressure. In the practice that I pulled with him, he was kings moving, he was floppers pressing, and everything in the middle with good, accurate pressure. I was so impressed. Anyways, yeah, he's a freak, man.
But I want to bring Eric in on this a little bit, because when you've seen the video, right, Eric? You've seen this.
I've seen Devon's video. Just seen that last night, and I've seen him pull Schoolboy couple days ago.
When you looked at the structure of this dude, mate, did he seem to be a little bit abnormal to you in terms of the hands, the thickness of the fingers, wrists? He seemed to me to be like a giant blacksmith, you know, like just a...
Yeah, he looked strong as hell. You can tell. That hand-forearm connection just looked tough.
Now, the thing that's really neat about him is how formable he is still. He's not built up in any way.
How old is he?
I think he's 25 or 26.
Holy shit.
I thought he was older than that. Wow.
Yeah. I did. Motherfucker might be strong, but he looks a lot older than that. He's aging badly. Probably dying. Like,
no. Stop it. You can become one of the detractors.
Hey, joking aside though here, I want to just throw a bit of light on the whole freak thing here. Just take it down the road we want this thing to go, because all my life I've been fascinated by the weirdo, okay? I love that. I love the guy, the thing that got me into arm wrestling. A local guy here, and the stories around this guy are ridiculous. Things he could do, feats of strength. And when you check into these feats of strength, they were genuine. I mean, one that always stuck out in my mind, he did a handstand on a 6-foot ladder that was positioned on top of a table, climbed up the ladder in a full handstand, knocked the ladder out of the way, dropped 6 feet onto a table, retrained the handstand. So almost like an altitude jump on his arms. Little things like that. But as you go through this sport, you meet these fabulous weirdos. And for me, I've spoken, as you know, Devon, we've spoken about this all over the world. The first time I met Eric, I was kind of like, holy, who is this guy? Just from things he told me, what he could do, his bench pressing. Eric, just tell people what you could bench press at an early age, mate. Give us a couple of numbers so everybody's benched. Give us a couple of numbers to let people know relatively what you could do.
Around like 13, benching over 300 pounds. But I was a light guy. You got to keep in mind, I can't remember my weights now. I never weighed 200 in high school.
I mean, that's ace, though, isn't it? At that age, 13, he's benching for over 300 pounds. Ace. Now that is something to be, I love that. Because people can say whatever they want around, okay, this guy's a specialist. This guy's trained specifically for this game. He's trained specifically for, if you relate it to bench press, for example, you're going to get better at benching. A lot of things that Eric does online, if you go and check out Eric's stuff, he teaches you about benching form, how to bench correctly and so on. But there is no argument around the fact that if a guy at 13 years of age is benching those kind of numbers, that is not your normal, average, everyday dude.
13 years old, 300-pound bench press.
I think we're just drawn to what we're good at, right? I feel like most arm wrestlers probably were good at arm wrestling, and you're drawn to that, and then you get better at whatever you're drawn to, usually based on how good your ability is.
Did you sort of always have aspirations for bench pressing, Eric? Was that your sort of strongest gym move by far, or was it one of a number of things that you were exceptional at?
Squat and bench. That's all we cared about. We didn't even deadlift. It was just, back then it was squat and bench. And arm wrestling at any time I got. Anyone's dad, anyone I can get an arm on, just...
When did you start like benching and doing those gym stuff? When you come to 13, you were doing 300 pounds bench. Like, when did you start doing this? It's not your first try or something, right? You were just doing...
Oh, no. I had a bench in my basement from the time I was probably like maybe 11 years old, 12 years old. Like my birthday gift.
Mm-hmm. Well, in 2 years, you are reaching to that number. So it means that you were a freak, not because of train you came to that point, just because of 2 years of benching, 13 years old kid can't bench 300 pounds. So yeah, so something was unnormal with you as well, like the same Khalid guy.
Were you an extremely big kid, Eric? Like,
no, I mean,
fit,
I had like thick bones, but I was pretty light.
How did you sort of get into the old strength environment, buddy? Is it like a family thing? Was your dad a pedigree in
well,
strength?
according to Devon. No, you got
Paul was strong as fuck.
An Italian neighborhood in New York. That's what you did. You lifted weights. I'm pretty sure I had my first gym membership, maybe like 12, 13. I already had a gym membership. That's just what everyone did. You wanted to be big, you wanted to be strong, and strength mattered. Like, it wasn't about a six-pack. It was about being the strongest guy in the gym. And that was it. Who could lift the most?
And who was like, what was the margin between you and the dude in second? When you went in there with all your mates as you do, and it's like, hey, rack it up. And then,
well, I would look at the grown men. I never tried to, I wanted to be the strongest in the gym. I didn't care about people my own age. Didn't even factor that in.
I absolutely love that. And the thing that fascinates me about this whole stuff, right, we're going into an environment now with the thing that Devon's doing, the Armbet app. What a fabulous piece of kit this is. I know I've spoken about it many times before, but the thing that I love about this is the ability that it's going to give to people to test themselves in that environment so easily. And it's so relatable. I know when myself and Eric were speaking about this, coming on the show to yesterday, we spoke about the crossover. There's much more crossover at this point in time than there's ever been. And I feel like there's always been that sort of interest from other strength sports in arm wrestling and from arm wrestling in other strength sports. But you sort of stand on the fringes and dip your toe in there. You know what I mean? And in order to get to that elite level, you need to, in the case of most people, you need to immerse yourself in the game. It's got to be blinkers on and 100% focused. What fascinates me is that freak factor, the person that is unique, a specialist by design, God-given gift for strength. How much does that matter? How much do they have to immerse themselves in it? I mean, from your perspective, Eric, do you feel like there are other guys, the other elites that are in your game, or some of the other elites put less into that? Or do you believe that you had to graft that hard to get to that level? Did you have to go absolutely balls out and go 100 miles an hour into bench press specifically?
Well, I think as far as arm wrestling is concerned, if you think about the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, right? To be great, it took so many years of training, right? Like, sure. So to gain the knowledge, the technique was just such a tough thing to do. Now, kid could go on YouTube and in 6 hours, 7 hours, right? They could get 30, 25 years of Devon's experience and just looking at videos. So the ability to get better at arm wrestling is increased tenfold. Same thing with bench. I mean, I was following Doreen Yates' bench program. I had my arms out like this to my neck. Everything I was doing was wrong based on magazines. So the newer generation, they're looking at videos from the time they're 12, 13, 14, doing everything perfect, watching exactly. So just the level of where you could take it and get better is just tenfold increased. To me, that's the difference. That's why you'll see a strong man now who will be able to take it to the next level. Where, let's say in the 90s, he pulled John Brzezinski, he's going to get rolled over, right?
Yeah.
And now if that happens, like, they could go back on YouTube, find stuff, figure stuff out. 6 months later, they've gained 10 years of knowledge. It's just, you're going to see more and more of that. You're going to see way more crossovers with super heavyweights.
But you're still not beating a cheetah in a 100-yard dash. You know what I mean? Yeah,
because by design. But what's fascinating is that the guy that comes in like the Eric, is it possible? Do you think, put it this way, Eric, is it possible for a person who is not the freak, okay? It's not the guy that could bench crazy weight at an early age because structurally, by design, they've got that God-given gift. Is it possible for that dude, if he starts to train perfectly, he's got the best tutelage possible from an early age to reach the kind of ascendancy that you did? Can that dude one day bench 722 pounds?
No, not even close. No, it all have to add up. You'd have to have the training, the genetics, everything has to line up but you could win local events, you could be in a really good, but could you be towards the greatest in the world at anything? You're going to have a ton of factors that play into that. Just like in arm wrestling, if you're a super heavyweight and you got a midget hand, you're already way far behind, right? If you're 5'6", could you, no matter how strong you are, could you be a top super heavyweight in arm wrestling? Small hand and 5'6". Is it humanly possible? I'd have to see it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Anything's possible. It's just a whole lot easier the other way.
True. So you're going to get someone at the elite level who did have better genetics, who trained just as hard, and then they're going to beat that guy no matter how hard he trains. But you can win a ton of local events, win a ton of local arm wrestling events, right?
When you came into arm wrestling, mate, just from let's focus on your sort of arm wrestling ventures and career. Did you, at a very early age, find that you were pretty untouchable at that as well? Did you have weaknesses, or you could just crush people in arm wrestling regardless?
Crush everyone in arm wrestling. I was hooking, though, and I feel like I was just naturally just boom, and no one was kind of doing that. Mm-hmm. It was weird.
Just like everybody was trying to roll out because you're so fucking strong.
But, until I lost to Michael Todd that first time ever on an arm wrestling table, I was on a long winning streak. Like you say, the guy who never lost, I was on
that's a long one.
A 10-year streak of never even coming close to losing.
Have you ever met someone in your career that you have aspired to in terms of that freak gene, mate? Have you come across anyone? Because it's interesting to me that does the freak know a freak? Do you have a guy that you've met that is comparable with you, or have you met more than one who's comparable with you in some areas of strength that you would classify as a weirdo?
I've met some freak benchers, guys we've trained with in the gym we've stumbled on, walked in, seen a guy doing almost 600 pounds at like on the Gold's Gym benches, they're thin, they're garbage. So if you're doing that on that 275 pounder, he ended up benching over 600 pound, Moku. A guy named Al was benching over 600 pounds. I mean, there's freaks out there.
I mean, talk to me a bit about Maddox, Julius Maddox, because everybody's sort of, there's a real buzz around Julius Maddox and what he's capable of doing. How much different is that man?
That's just the perfect storm. That's what we were just talking about. Mm-hmm. What happens when a guy has the most amazing physical abilities and then is just bigger, right? Just benching, weight moves weight, right? The bigger you are, the lower you are. So just every gift. You can't train that. You can't teach that. You just, everything lined up, and he probably trains like an absolute savage, and just, that's the perfect storm of when records get broken, when you get someone with amazing genetics lines up with someone with a great work ethic and the desire to do it. And as sports grow, the talent pool grows, right? So arm wrestling is going to keep growing as far as that's concerned. Look at the exposure. What kind of Devon's really pushed it to the mainstream. Larry Wheels, guys like that truly pushing it. You're going to get more and more athletes, and you're going to get more and more freaks, and it's going to really elevate the level of the game. So if you got like lower genetics, the days of squeaking in probably are going to start falling by the wayside. There's going to be some absolute freaks.
I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because the sort of old adage is, the old angle is, and I've had this with a lot of people where I've said, oh yeah, you know, when this thing opens up and Armbets gets out there and everybody starts meeting in the park and, oh yeah, you know how you do, come and have a try, buddy, and some guy comes over and you just get in there and everybody looks around at each other like, what the, you know, this is a weirdo, freak. The funny thing is, like you said at the start of the call, people tend to gravitate at something they are good at. Their interest peaks in that, and then they excel. The thing that I like is the weirdo versus the guy who's obsessed. And Engin represents that guy for me, because I remember when we did your sort of career spotlight, Engin, you told me that you were super weak when you were young. You were like a really weak individual. And yet you got to a level which was obviously, arguably, the very best at your weight class. Now, obviously, Devon's going to argue that's just because you were small.
Don't let him talk bad about you, Engin. I got your back, buddy.
I'll never do that.
I don't need you to get my back.
I'm here for you too, Engin.
Yeah, it's okay. You just give your back to your 100-something thousand followers. Okay, Neil, I want to tell you a few things. One, I don't really agree that like the knowledge that is gained by experience and the knowledge that is found on social media is not the same. Like even whenever I train my students personally, you understand? It is. Yeah. I mean, it is just hardly working. You understand? The person really has to have something. When you do this online, it's even you do it directly online.
Further removed.
Yeah. Still, it lowers you. So you need the details are very important. When you say like copying, when you say rising or something, there are a lot more to do into it about it. The thing that I would like to discuss with you guys, that guy Khalid. How big is Khalid, Devon?
I'd say he's probably 6'3" to 6'4", probably 6'3", probably around 245, 250.
Yeah, so 110, 150, 15 kilo.
Yeah,
and,
but untrained.
Yeah. Another question I want to ask. You, Devon, or Michael, can you guys beat Eric in arm wrestling, like, quickly?
No.
Or,
no.
Yeah, no. Okay, Devon is gonna get upset what I say, but this will never be a case about the best guys 90 kilo and under. No matter which freak you find, you are not gonna find anyone that is traveling Zolev, you understand, or Zog, or other best arm wrestlers. But whenever it goes above those classes, you can find people like Khalid and Eric that is giving trouble to the best heavyweights in the world.
And is that because of do you think that is because at that level, the individual that's there is reliant heavily on power? It's more about, it's almost like, if the heavyweight boxer, you might not see that fleet foot because he doesn't need to. If he hits you,
the super heavyweight division
it will not be in boxing. It will not be in UFC. It will not be in wrestling.
No, it'll be in nothing. It'll be in nothing that has a weight class.
Yeah. They will not. But in arm wrestling, it happens.
No, it's in any strength sport that has a weight class. In combat sport that has a weight class. There's a huge difference between weight class and open. Big difference.
Yeah.
Khalid is as much as weight.
Listen, I've done both. I've competed in a weight class.
Khalid is your weight. You understand?
Yeah.
In the same weight, he can cause you troubles. You need to really, really tire him to be.
Well, listen. Hold on, Engin. Hold on. There's a big difference between Khalid and Eric. Okay. If I wanted to slam Khalid, I could have slammed Khalid.
This is not what you told me.
If you give me a ready go with Khalid, I can still smash him.
Oh, this is not how you told me.
Well, I'm being nice, and I'm being fair to the guy. And look, and the only reason I would slam him is because I'm trickier than him. It's got nothing to do with my physicality.
Is John Brezink not the freak? At 85 kilos, is he not that dude? I think he is that dude.
Yeah,
I think John Brezink's the guy you're describing.
The guy that was even losing to Dave Patton when he started. No, it's not the same thing, Bill. Dave Patton was 160 pounds, even beat John Brezink in 1982 or 82, when John was 18 years old, much heavier, 25 pounds heavier. They beat him 2-0. So,
but the point I'm making, Engin, is that John, you come in and you're unrefined. When you dig up a diamond, it isn't cut, motherfucker. Yeah, you find the diamond and then you cut it. What I'm saying is, the guy comes in, he's got the ability, you can mould that and it goes further. John, at that small weight class, was able to be molded, so he went to the very top. You know what I mean?
Without training is doing this. That is the difference I'm talking about.
I'm kind of on the fence on that. I don't think that it's possible to go to the absolute maximum in a sport with the diversity that something like, or the technical necessity
Eric, what's your weight?
Or arm wrestling has to just go straight to the top.
What I weigh?
Yeah.
I'm like 310. But
yeah.
I know what Engin's saying, right? He's saying you're never going to find a guy off the street, right? Let's say 165, 180, who could even hang it all with a pro 165, 180. And I agree 1,000,000%, but I can tell you why I think that, though.
Yeah.
Like, if you find an elite strength athlete at 165, 180, like a power lifter, right?
Yeah.
They train so much with squat and deads that there's probably about 15 pounds of wasted weight on their legs, hips area, where a 165 arm wrestler is all trained for arm wrestling specific muscles. So with super heavy, that's not a factor. You're pulling a guy who squatted and deadlifted, it didn't matter. But at the lower weight classes, we're talking 15 pounds of just garbage. It has no carryover to the sport, so I do believe that, and that's why I think
with the big legs in the supers as well, you know, just like, I mean, not everyone 300 pounds is just full upper body, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter when there's no weight class, right?
Yeah, that's a really good point, Eric.
Same weight versus same weight. I mean, it doesn't matter. This never happens in another sport. In boxing, just bring 300-pound guy, just put him against the best boxer in the world in super heavyweight. Even if he is much heavier than him, boxer is going to be better than him. You know, there's no problem. You know.
One of the guys that I would always refer to in that similar lineage really would be someone like Ion Oncescu of Romania, who when I first met Oncescu at the Zloty Tour, when he came up and he was relatively a novice, you know, he said, look, I've only been doing this like 6 months, but immediately he went on the practice table. You were starkly aware of the fact that the guy was a fucking weirdo.
Yeah, he was
straight away. It was like, what the? You know, he was raw as hell. He was throwing his shoulder in very sideways, almost borderline dangerous. But the amount of power that he had backing it up, structural strength, was ridiculous.
And I've known lightweights that have come into the sport and won. I've known them. So to say it doesn't happen, I don't agree with you.
Just show me one person that comes to arm wrestling, beats the best in the world.
Well, best in the world. I'm not talking about best in the world, but I'm talking about coming in and beating people way more experience.
Yes, that's what I was meaning with the example of Brezink earlier. Because Brezink, for me, is that guy. He's the guy that came in. He's not the finished article immediately, but nobody is. But what you could see is that his level of proficiency at the sport was already way, way up.
And that happens in every weight class. That happens in, I mean, talent rises quickly.
It took like 10 years for him to beat Johnny Walker, you know.
Yeah, but Johnny Walker was very
high levels of the sport, Engin. He beat all these dudes that he had no business beating before that.
When John Brezink started, many years people, he started 13, 14, he was 18, he was still losing to 160 pounds their pattern. Just, I mean, of course.
And when he was 18, he won over the top.
Yeah, he did.
He didn't. He did 22. He was 1986. What are you talking about?
He was world champion at 18. World champion at 18.
He was.
He was 18 years old when he won his first world title.
Hero. And he was 18. He was pulling for 5 years already.
But
I involved in 19, you know.
To be honest, Engin, the two men you've mentioned there, Patton and Walker.
Klimenko was 16 years old when he won the war.
So, Engin, are you saying that you don't believe in the genetic factor in arm wrestling?
I believe that, but I am just saying that they don't step up and win. They do 5-6 years of training and win.
Well, I was going to say Johnny Walker is another example of exactly that same thing. Johnny Walker, I mean, you've met Johnny. Johnny is an absolute weirdo.
Sorry, guys, let's just have a circle. How long did it take you to win a national title?
Me, 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
2 years to win a national title.
Yeah, same actually. 2.5 years.
I understand that. 2 years, I understand. National champion, I understand. World level, you don't step up and win. You just need a few years.
No, but But I mean, let's see who's won a world title the fastest.
I don't know, but a minimum 4 or 5 years they are doing. Are you talking about seniors? It's different.
I would say Oncescu is going to be one of those guys. Oncescu, I think, won after about 2 years again.
No,
1.5 to 2 years, he showed up and won real quick.
I remember, I think 2004 or something, he was losing Gashevsky. I think
and he's in a weight class.
But he won the world title, didn't he? The year after.
Yeah. No, not 2007, Bulgaria, after 3-4 years. Yeah.
Let's try and think about, I mean, who would you say, how long had Zoik been pulling when he won his first one?
Who?
Oleg Zoik.
Oleg Zoik, I remember him losing at the beginning, but, then later he started winning.
How later, though? It was pretty quick, wasn't it?
What about Pushkar?
A few years. Yeah, Pushkar
was a few years, because he was losing to Alexei. So listen, you probably, that's the absolute elite.
Listen, Neil, just because you see a guy in a competition first time, it doesn't mean that he leaves home and comes to world championships. They are like 2-3 years in
I don't think anybody's saying that, Engin.
No, not saying that. Okay, let's look at it another way. Take it out of arm wrestling for a minute. Eric, bench press. From you, 100% blinkers on, focused on going after the world record bench, how long did it take you? And this is the absolute world record, the outright world record.
I mean, I was always benching though, so I don't know. You mean like when I truly thought like I'm going for this?
Yes. Because you were doing, you were lifting, you were doing your stuff, but you were also arm wrestling and other stuff. God only knows what else you were doing. You had other focuses. And then you suddenly went, right, that's it. Yeah. Lock me in a box. That's what I'm doing.
Maybe 2-3 years, but it's hard because I had been benching still my whole life. So I wouldn't, but yes, dedicated where it was just 100% focused on benching.
How old were you?
When I started?
No, when you won. When you got the record.
You got the record.
I think like 37, 38, I don't know.
See, for me, that is a pretty clear example of the freak factor at its best, because you've got a guy that is clearly naturally extremely strong. And to be fair, with all due respect to bench pressing, to powerlifting, the nuance of that is it's narrower. It's a narrower band because the fucking thing isn't hitting you back. It isn't evolving and moving. Right. It's linear. Okay? But we're talking about the absolute outright world record of all time. So there is no higher peak. You're Everest, mate. That's it. Now, 2 to 3 years. That's fucking amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you can't say 2 to 3 years.
You can in a way, because he's not focusing on other things.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have been able to start there. You had to have I started focusing when I was 30 for a double. So, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, when I actually was like, oh, it is possible, because I would hear the numbers and think, nah, that's not possible. But then, and then arm wrestling, I always thought, arm wrestling, I see 50-year-olds who are killing it. So if anything, you could focus. Bench has a shorter window, so jump in on bench when you can, and then you could always go back, because to do both was not going to work. That you can't do.
No.
At least I couldn't do. Maybe some people could do it. I couldn't do it.
I don't think anybody. That was kind of the point I'm alluding to a little bit, Eric, in terms of to get to the. I'm not talking about to just be really good. I'm talking about to be absolutely elite. Okay, whatever weight class that's in, Engin. Whether it's super heavyweight or bantamweight, whatever weight class it's in. If you're going to be the absolute man, I don't think there's ever been a human being in any discipline that hasn't been 100% focused. You know? I'm not aware of one. If somebody can correct me on that, maybe there is. But I'm not aware of anyone in any discipline who's not, for that short window of time when they focused on it, that's what they've done. They've focused on it and they've gone for it. Michael, it's the potential.
Michael told story is same as Eric's, I believe. Like Michael's reaching to the top also took near 20 years.
But Michael isn't the strength freak. We actually invited him on the show for that because he's the learned guy.
I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about Eric's was a long story. Also, Michael's was the same, you know. like it took about 20 years, Michael, to become one of the very best in the world, you know. Like some people progress slow but very steady, and some people just do everything quick and then they are gone, disappear. But Michael also took about 20 years, right? Like can we say that early 2010s, Michael was considered one of the...
Do you think Michael's the best in the world, Engin?
No, one of the. Yeah, one of the. Yeah. If I would say like 5 names, he for sure would be one of them. Yeah. And after I saw yesterday, I don't know.
Gennady.
Did you see Gennady versus?
Have you seen that, Eric? Did you see Levan Saganashvili?
Yeah. The joke is so bad.
We can go into you. There's so many connotations with this. Yeah, basically, the Georgian sparring session was put out yesterday, mate. And in that sparring session, the way that the video reflects it, Gennady Quickvinya, who's a fucking amazingly talented puller, maybe the most technical heavyweight, in my opinion, maybe the most technical natural super, beats Levan when they're both shown first at the table. However, that room is full of beasts, and what it doesn't show, did anybody else pull them before that? We don't know. And, so I've got 100 messages on that, and I don't know.
One thing that I noticed about that match, though, is that Levan is the holder.
Yes.
Yeah, he's the guy that's that move.
Yeah.
He's the guy
holding,
that's from the board.
So there's a difference between practice and competition.
Yeah.
There's every difference between. But as I say, I got a myriad of messages on that last night, and I answered the same thing to everybody out there, and I said we'd discuss it on either on here or the Fix. To me, I'm non-committal in training. Training's training. Loads of shit can happen in training. The only time I measure anything is if the dude shows up, he's in good shape, he's got a date, he's got a time, he walks into that room, he makes weight, he goes in, he arm wrestles. That's your test.
There's still a lot, though. There's still a lot that can be shown and learned in practice. Like when I watched that match, and we've always known that Gennady and Levan have traded, right?
Yeah, I've a lot.
Not like you mean they were head to head?
Yes.
Yeah, but
the Georgians
lately, even in the WAF events, Levan seemed to be better than Gennady. But then Levan looked, at least we guessed that Levan was much better than Gennady because he went totally professional way. But yesterday I saw Gennady was huge. As Devon said that he was like waiting, Levan was waiting. But the thing is, whenever Gennady moved, he was just really taking him down without much resistance. So with a start, it may change, but still, it may not change as well. So we don't know. This is my opinion.
Definitely very interesting stuff.
Yeah. I mean, another sort of leveling shot within that whole piece. What that puts out there is that you've got Erekle, and he, at one point, he manages to hold up and take the wrist of Quickvinya. So, depending on who's edited that video, I don't know. I'm not putting too much stall in it. And as Devon said, it looked to me like Levan was the guy that was going to grip you that little bit lower. So,
but I will tell you, Levan has some little bit problem right here. So that way, what I saw, and then I see some of training matches with Irakli, the young guy, and I am kind of started to thinking that Levan would have some problems with Michael for sure.
But Engin, you got to remember, Levan is always holding. He's never posting up.
I know. But I'm just saying that. Just imagine that he is posting and hitting outside, and from this side Michael is hitting. There is a possibility Levan to be stopped, lose the wrist, but then we don't know how much pressure he can put with the dead wrist shoulder. Because whenever I was watching Pushkar versus Michael at Zloty, I was right there. I was watching, and it was 2-2, and then looked like Michael is gonna win the rest. I was just like, I was like, why don't you try the dead wrist shoulder press? Because the guy didn't try that, because years ago he tried that thing, but it was after he lost his pronator. So whenever he was trying to press the guy, he was going nowhere. So in his head, that fear was playing that if I do this, it's not gonna work. But whenever he hit from outside, also he neutralized Pushkar's wrist, Michael's wrist, so Michael didn't have the full wrist control. Mm-hmm. And then whenever he applied his shoulder press to the far side of the hand on Michael, so it worked. Because he had to do that, even he was afraid, this is what I see. He had to do that because he had no other solution. And then he tried, it worked. So if Levan is able to do that, he has a chance to win. But I don't think, in an orthodox way of arm wrestling, I think that he can beat Michael unless he became something else during the competition time.
I watched that match in Costco. I was like, I remember being so impressed. I was like, wow, I can't believe he did it. As I'm like buying peanuts and sardines. I'm like, it's ridiculous.
You saw live or later video?
I saw it live. I was live watching it while I was shopping. I was like, damn. I'm like, Pushkar. I'm like, he did it. Like, I couldn't believe it.
Cell phone you were watching, huh? At the same time.
Yeah.
Hey, I've got a question I wanted to put to Eric here, actually. Mate, when you got bigger and you got more focused on bench, do you feel that the size you had to put on and the result of the training and putting on that additional power, did it restrict your movement at all? Was it detrimental to your arm wrestling at all? Did you feel any loss of motion, range of motion?
I wasn't really arm wrestling at the time, but.
What about now when you get back at the table? Is it just thrust, or are you in any way restricted from your size and what you've developed there? Does it slow you down? Does it restrict you, mobility-wise?
So. I feel fine on the table.
That
I was really a little taller. I mean, that's my problem.
Eric, have you ever trained for arm wrestling, even for a little period of time?
Yeah, I mean.
How long did you train?
In 2008-9, maybe like a year and a half. Or whatever that was. When was that, Devon? Like, when I pulled you, I was training hard.
Yeah, Engin, I don't think that you really know who Eric is. I think I got to give Eric a better introduction for you.
Yeah, okay. Because I have watched him. He's very strong. I have seen him with you, and I have seen him with Michael Todd. But I don't know what he is doing,
okay.
You know. I don't see.
Eric, please allow me. Okay. So Eric has been arm wrestling his whole life, right? So basically, from the time he was a kid, he's always been one of the guys who's always down to arm wrestle. Eventually,
often, right? Not often, right? Not often, yeah. Whenever he sees someone that is, maybe challenge for him, probably. Not like, he's training for bench or his specific sport.
Well, I think it went a little bit beyond that. I mean, didn't your dad used to bring you around New York, just because he was so blown away? And he couldn't find anybody to beat you, right?
Well, in a mall, he had a store in a mall, and we'd take me to every dude in the mall that he knew and arm wrestle.
When? 20 years ago? 5 years ago? 30 years ago?
What?
30 years ago you're talking about?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Longer. I was like 11, 12, 13, not even, young. Arm wrestling grown man. Everyone's dad. I didn't train specifically. I just lifted weights. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was just a gym rat.
Okay, you said that you can't do bench and arm wrestling at the same time. They don't really work together, you said, right? I have a question for you, Devon. If you would train this guy, that he would be with you for, just say, like 3 years. Like, where do you see him?
I'm going to move to Vegas.
I can answer that question.
I'm moving.
Okay, answer. If you train him. Like, do you think that he would be right now talking about Levan and Gennady even?
Yeah. I think Eric's potential is ridiculous. In my opinion, with the right focus, he's right in there.
Engin,
Eric
really didn't really show up to do bench until he thought he could win the world record.
Yeah, there you go.
He didn't really go to a bench event. He just showed up. It was like my second or third event.
Between 13 and 35, what did you do?
Lift weights.
Yeah, lift weights, yeah.
Really everyone's.
Right? So just know that's Eric's psychology. Eric doesn't want to show up in arm wrestling until he's ready to win a world championship.
Yeah, but he has potential. You guys say it. If he doesn't believe you too, who is he gonna believe for that? And another question.
Well, he's fine. There's no problem. He's on it.
For me.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. I would like to see exactly what you spoke about, Engin, actually come to fruition. I'd love to see Eric become focused, dedicated, and encapsulated within the sport, and somebody like Devon take a friggin' project approach.
What you guys don't understand is Eric's already there. That's what you guys are missing.
Yeah.
Already.
I don't think he's there yet, but I think he's 6 months to a year of hard training off, because there's a little areas and nuances that everybody needs, and I believe Eric's problem is Eric's never had the ability to train regularly with people who can drive him forward, because the man is too strong for everyone. Yes.
This is what I said.
If you've got a situation where you're beating everyone, it's difficult for you to progress.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Okay, another question. To me, in my opinion, whenever he applies his strength, power, you don't take his wrist or something and he curls his wrist, Dave Chaffee is probably either the best or one of the few strongest guy in the world. Do you agree? Whenever he curls his wrist and drives,
Listen,
so my question
here's the thing with Dave.
Listen, Devon, listen my question. What do you think? Since Dave is not a pure top roller or something, and what do you think that just if they go horsepower versus horsepower with Eric right now?
Devon, you answer that, mate, because I've pulled both and they're too strong for me to tell you shit. So I'm going to tap out.
Okay, so...
No, really.
I agree that in a very simple kind of way, Dave is in... Hold on. Oh, my God. That's Dave Chaffee right now.
No.
It's like you read my mind. God damn it.
Eric Spoto, no.
I'm not talking to him right now.
Get him on the son. What are you doing?
Sorry.
Okay.
Anyways, Dave Chaffee is absolutely one of the strongest dudes in a very simple... The problem is with Dave is he's not really strong deep in a hook press kind of thing, and he doesn't do any kind of this crazy top roll stuff that's out there.
Unorthodox, isn't he? He's like a weird, unorthodox stuff. He's not normal.
Almost, I would say, extremely orthodox. That's what I would say.
Yeah, just straight.
Very, very short break, Devon. But did you see he and Denis Shiplenko went really deep hook at A1? Still, he had the edge. You understand?
No.
Denis was always in position, and then he was in position. Yeah, they were hook to hook. Yes.
Not the way I saw it at all.
Yeah, they were in deep hook, and then finally Denis won. So I think his hook is strong, His hook is strong, but more like side pressure.
I think his central position is strong. I don't think his hook is comparable to Dave's. To Dennis's.
They were in hook, but maybe we watch again, Maybe I misremember, maybe you misremember.
The way I remember the match is it was interesting a short while when Dennis was trying to straight up arm wrestle him. And when you try and straight up arm wrestle Dave, unless you're Richard Lupkeys, you're probably in trouble.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean straight up?
Orthodox without changing or
like no cheating at all, no gamesmanship, no going in too deep, no coming out too far.
Yeah.
Right in the center lane, Dave Chaffee is really powerful.
Okay, how do you compare him with Eric?
Well, they're different.
Yeah.
Just
more focused. More focused is how you compare him.
I don't want to say more focused because I actually think that Eric can be much more focused.
Can be, but isn't yet.
I don't know if that's true.
You may be on the inside track.
Listen,
here. Eric, tell us if that's the case because I would love that.
I've been training the last 6 months. I'm on arm wrestling. That's all I'm training for.
The thing is I know when somebody's crazy. And like, I've known Eric for a long time, and most of the time Eric likes arm wrestling. He thinks it's really cool, and he's really good at it. You were different the last time I was down. Something happened to you the last time you pulled Michael Todd.
Yeah, he's right.
I know.
That's
I know.
Losing is good for you. Not being able to do something is the greatest thing for you.
Because you were different. Because normally when we get together, we talk about all sorts of shit and whatever. And you were so on point with, how do I do this? How do I do that? And you were talking about videos, and I was like, he's changed.
Yeah.
He's changed.
Come on, in short, can he beat Dave now or not?
I wouldn't want to see you pull Dave yet. I wouldn't want to see it. I would chart your career in a much more logical progression. I wouldn't want to see you. I wouldn't want to see you, even if I thought it was possible. That would be the worst thing. I would want you to pull guys that you still shouldn't beat, but I know you'll beat. You know?
This is not my point. They are not gonna pull. I'm just saying, I'm trying to understand.
If you want me to tell you the real answer is, can Eric Spoto win a world championships? I'll tell you yes. That's what I'll tell you. It's absolutely possible.
When?
I agree.
When it's time. When it's time.
The next few years.
He has potential. This is what you say. Okay.
Oh, yeah, like immortal.
Okay.
One of the reasons that I want to get Eric in the World Arm Wrestling League is specifically that. You know, when I was doing, not long ago, before COVID, I was doing the sort of, this is not a real match, but if this guy met this guy, you know? Well, my logical first step was somebody like Richard Lupkus. Just because of the fact that Lupkus is very sideways, very raw, but he's past his peak, but he's still rock friggin' strong.
I think a very easy first match, and it doesn't even need to be with a league. It can be, Eric, next time I go to Vegas, we're getting in a car and we're driving to LA, and we're going to go to Mendelssohn's gym. And I think that can just kind of set it straight. You know?
Iron Dick. I love that idea.
Like, that's where it starts. You got the two kings of bench who came into arm wrestling. Now let's see who actually has the crossover.
So you think that match would be good? Good. I think it would be too easy. No. But, no disrespect.
No, I know it'd be too easy.
Yeah.
I know it would. But let me tell you, Scott Mendelssohn's no pushover. Okay, when he hears this and when he says it's going to be easy,
mate,
get all fired up.
He's astronomically strong, but he's not got the background. Like I said at the start of the call,
what's interesting with Scott is he has a King's move. That's what makes Scott interesting, because that's going to be a test for you no matter what. Because you're going to have to face a guy who has a King's move, who's strong, who wants to fight you. And so does the guy at the end of the road. So it's a really nice one for you to kind of get under your belt early.
Another question, Eric. Eric, I'm not asking you this question because for me, his opinion about you is more important than your opinion about yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. The reason I am asking that whenever you pull with Michael, like most of the people, you also lost your wrist. But does it mean that he has weakness there, or is it because of the way that Michael is pulling? It's like even Pushkar lost his wrist, even Dennis lost his wrist. So the question I'm asking, how is his hand compared to, for example, Khalid's?
Well, Eric, again, you can't compare people across the board. Look at Eric. Actually, you don't have a great big hand. The hand, it's what's connected to Eric's hand that's really scary. It's his wrist, his ability to keep his cup, and once he gets turned, his ability to drag and pronate, and it's all arm wrestling fundamentals. I think that a match with anybody who does not have a very deep press or a King's move is in big trouble with Eric right now.
How would Eric and Toddzilla go, Dev?
I would love to see that.
I would. I've got a semi. I'm thinking about that.
I would love to see that because I'll tell you, it'll be very interesting. Because that's a hook right there.
Do you know the guy that I was gonna? Do you know the guy that I'd proposed for World Arm Wrestling League because he was coming in at the time? The first guy that I proposed Eric to pull was Passmore. That was the first guy I had him
Good
earmarked
match.
for.
I think Eric will kill him.
I wanted Eric and Passmore as their first World Arm Wrestling League match. That was the one that I wanted. Because Passmore's no bum, very well respected around North America, very strong, very brutal, very material arm wrestler. You know, he's all about the structure in a match. And I think he's not going to run. And that interests me a great deal, and people would suddenly get that, okay, the winner of that's really put some points on the board.
So you guys are saying that with an orthodox top roll, without going under table, it is almost impossible to take his wrist for many people?
Yeah, I'd say you need to be in that 99.99 percentile. Yeah.
Really strong.
Well, you guys talk about Godzilla. I have a question for both of you. Godzilla has incredible side pressure, right? And whenever he pulled Devon was apart and he was going sideways. And then whenever I watch Jerry versus Devon was able to match Jerry's side. You understand? So he put
very
his
different circumstances.
Yeah, but what I'm just saying that why didn't Todd try to go sideways with Jerry, but he tried to top roll him? Do you think that if he would try, he could, or no? I have seen a lot of times that
going
outside
with Jerry, in my opinion, kind of the trick to beating Jerry is completely to do with shoulder alignment. And if you have the capacity to press from a deeper angle than Jerry does, because he's flopping for the most part and doesn't have a good top roll option, it can really, really wreck his day. But if you're not able to press from a deep angle, a hook is not going to do you any good against that thing coming down. So it boxes a lot of people into having a really bad option. To outside arm wrestle Jerry is really difficult because he's going to come down on that arm. He's going to come down on it.
You have to catch him on his bicep. This is what you do. I see. You put your shoulder and put his hand behind his shoulder and catch him in bicep, and then I sometimes think that you intentionally don't beat him, you just tire him there.
You just catch that, Engin?
Everyone catches, but
you're on the ball, Engin. That's it. You didn't win those lap titles for nothing.
Yeah. What did you say? What did you say last?
He's only teasing you, mate. He said you didn't get no lap titles for nothing. He's winding you. You've got to watch him. He wind you up.
But the thing is, Matt Mask is the one that is smart one. Whenever he is caught in the trap, he just bring his own hand to the pad, But I have a question. When you hold Jerry like that,
you should learn that because I'm coming to Turkey.
Yeah, no.
Give up.
Your shoulders will be above table, so that's not a problem.
Keep your hands where I can see them, Engin. I'm the Turkey, man. I'm coming, Engin.
I was 70 kilo. This guy was 100-something kilo. After my Gold Classic, I hold him with left arm. I mean, it was a can opener, his wrist. Can opener, inside, outside, inside, outside. So he just can't forget it and can't get over. But it's okay. It's okay.
I'm very good at forgetting things, Engin.
You've got to block that stuff out. Compartmentalize.
I don't remember anything that's not in my favor. Nothing.
Yeah, I have a question for you. Whenever you catch Jerry in that position, such bicep position, Jerry just waits for you to pin him, or he really fights?
Oh, well, okay, so round one, I totally demolished him in setup. Okay? So round one, he didn't have a chance anywhere of he couldn't even get in the match. He couldn't even get in. So everything that he wanted to give me in round one was great. He shouldn't have really pulled, but Jerry's a man, and he didn't want it to be like that. But and then what was it? Was it round two that I got fouled out? I think I got fouled out in round 2.
I thought it was 3, but
anyways, I remember I was trying to do that same thing, but Bart figured out what I was doing, and Jen was mad at me, and I wasn't really able to get the set that I wanted, so I had to force from a more open position. So I caught him much more. I remember when he hit me, my vision was just stars. It's like somebody, like just, and but the thing is I never stopped bringing my shoulder forward into the match, and with a guy who's so reliant on you not to pull it back for his style, in that match we were both redlined for probably, I'm going to say, a good 15 to 25 seconds before I edged around, but yeah.
Eric, do you watch a lot of these matches, mate? Have you sort of had your, obviously you say
I'm back on it.
Are you watching a lot of these dudes, or who are you most impressed with?
I've seen every WL.
Nice work, so.
Every match now.
Who are the matches that you'd like, buddy? Who are the guys that you think, are there guys out there that you sort of got your eye on and think, I'd like a crack at that?
Everyone seems like an impossible match. Like every guy in WL seems like you could lose to them, but you know what I mean? That's why they're in WL, right? It's the best of the best. So if you let them get their spot, you're in trouble, right?
Mm-hmm. I would like to I mean, I think we're all really excited because a lot of us who know Eric know his potential, but I still want to see him do like the progression that you're supposed to take, because if you don't do that, it can screw you up. It's like you have to take those steps. Just to jump them all, it's not good for kids.
I also think the other thing there is, and why I like that approach, I endorse that approach 100%, is because it also allows people to see Eric's re-evolution as an arm wrestler. Right. Everybody knows him, regardless of the fact that he was in fact an arm wrestler and he went to bench. Because of the achievement in bench, he's the bench press dude. You know what I mean? It's the same situation as Vytautas Lalas. Because Vytautas Lalas was second at World's Strongest Man, he's a strong man. He was actually an arm wrestler. You know what I mean? But you're always going to have that tag. So I'd like the arm wrestling community, the new arm wrestling community, to know Eric and to see his progression and see his character develop within the World Arm Wrestling League. And also see him pull different dudes with different styles. You know? Not throw him to the wolves.
I'd like to see Nick Zena. I'd like to see you pull Mikey Yellow. I think that'd be a fun match. And then I'd like to see your first real test be around the third match, a guy like Marcio.
Freaking hell, yeah,
that's when it gets real. That's when it gets really, really real. But I'd like to see, and I'm not saying that Nick Zena is not real. I'm not saying that Mikey Yellow is not real. But I'm saying Marcio Barbosa, if you beat Marcio, that's when it really starts to get divided.
Yeah, Marcio represents the elite level, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Do you think that Nick Zena has no chance at all against his hand?
No, I think it's a good match. I think that Eric will win, but I think that he'll learn something from it that's important for him. Like, I think if he doesn't take these matches, because it might not even be a 3-0. It could be interesting. It could be 3-1. It could be 3-2.
How do you see match? Technical way?
It's a good match. I think at this stage, and the thing is, you got to remember with Eric is he has, like, it's the same thing. Like, every time we put these we know how strong they are because everybody pulls differently in practice, but there is stuff that you learn in competition that's like next level nasty that you cannot really explain to somebody in words. It's like you have to go out there and fight to get those lessons. And if you bypass these lessons, you can't win at an elite level. It's like you got to collect the badges. You know what I mean?
I agree.
And you're already on a fast track, and that's inevitable. But like to just push you right to the end it's not good for anyone.
What you're talking about there is the evolution. It's the nuance of the sport of arm wrestling. Right. It's more combat sport than strength sport. You with me?
Right.
So you've got to have those. It's like a fighter. However good a fighter was, however good potentially that fighter is, you still plan a career path where the guy faces, okay, this guy's got a really good jab. This guy's got, you put them against different fighters so that they build a layer of how to deal with that situation. Just a guy who's durable as fuck, and he's going to take you into deep water until you're blowing hard, which is a terrible thing to encounter. A guy's going to kick your legs, whatever it's going to be. And it's that same situation with Eric. He's got that massive potential, the foundations in place, and then allow the guy to come in and build those layers of technical nuance. And you could be looking at something, in fact, I'm absolutely convinced you're looking at somebody who is very present. One is real, believe me.
You got to get your badges, Eric. You got to go out and get your badges.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is that here, I can't really have no idea because I don't know Eric so much. I don't know Khalid so much. But whenever we compare these guys with the real Armwrestlers, when I say real Armwrestlers, don't get me wrong, Eric. I'm talking about the ones that are really competing professionally. So it is hard for me to compare. I never felt his hand. I have never really seen him in a competition, never seen Khalid in a competition. So that is why I think Devon is the one that, has the best opinion about. For example, Khalid, which level do you think he is right now? Like at the moment.
Again, I'll say he has world championship potential. So
yes, but right
now, I think I've already said, I think that this guy is so talented that he is not an amateur. You cannot put him in an amateur class. You put him in a pro class and he's relevant. Like every guy who arm wrestles him in a pro class is going to know what they had there. They're going to either walk away and be like, I'm lucky I beat that kid because he's a freak and he's going to get me in a couple of years. I know it. Or they're going to get killed and they're going to be one of the guys who's like, damn, that guy beat me his first comp. He's probably not going to win. He's not going to win his first pro meet. No.
Devon, did you try with him different? Like, did you try him inside, side, outside?
Yeah.
Like, is it, for example, inside? Is he as good as his hand?
He's really good. I'm telling you, I was so excited when I got to meet this guy and pull with this guy. He's good for so many reasons. His hand is clearly good. His hand is clearly, like, you can feel it right away. He doesn't understand inside arm wrestling that well. He just doesn't get it. Okay? Yeah. But I felt him. He is totally strong. And the thing that, and the reason why I know he's strong, let me tell you a little story about what he did. I've said it on my channel, but I'll say it here. Okay, right away, I felt this. I went to Dubai to help Larry. Okay? So I was over there. My entire reason was to take care of Larry, help Larry, mentor Larry. And when I shook this dude's hand, I'm like, he's gonna hurt Larry. I knew it. I knew if I put that guy on the table with Larry, he was going to hurt Larry. So I'm like, I got to take some steam out of this guy because he's going to rampage this whole room. So I pulled him, and when I pulled him, right away, and look, I didn't do any cheats or anything. I'm not trying to beat the kid. I'm trying to assess exactly where he's at. And right away, I knew that it would take me a whole lot of messing around to have anything on his hand. So I just went right in deep. I out-shoulder positioned him. Okay, so right away, he was in an unfavorable position with his shoulder, and it allowed me, like kind of a similar Jerry story. He pulled against me in an unfavorable position, and I bled him a bit.
Okay, bled it.
Terrible human being, but that's what I did. But once I felt safe with him, I started to experiment. I started to feel him in all different places, and I was extremely impressed. What I was most impressed about is he was not afraid to use his bones. He was not afraid to throw.
Structure at it.
He was not even a bit afraid.
You know what else I like about that dude, mate?
It just feels
I read
muscle.
a couple of comments the other day, and on those comments it said things like, this guy needs to learn that arm wrestling's not, you don't get aggressive and you don't get... Bullshit. I'm going to say that I love that about him. That's another For me, that's another element of the package. You know, you spoke about the technical package. That guy, Engin, you were saying that he can come in and he looks like he can pull a little. I think that is another layer. The fact that he isn't yielding, that he's not going to get, that he's going to fight you, that he's going to get in your face.
Let me finish. Let me finish about what this guy did. Okay, twice I bled him out. Then he pulled Larry when he was fresh. Larry beat him. Larry's fresh. He's 2 down to me. And then he takes a little break. The national champ, a guy called Mazahir. You might have just seen him pull Schoolboy. He beat Schoolboy's brother easily.
I like
okay.
That.
He's good. Mazahir is a good arm wrestler. Fucking hell. God damn it. I gotta turn this thing off. Mazahir is a good arm wrestler. Like he's really good. National champion. First match, him and Awa set up. Totally strict, ready, go. Awa, bam, comes forward and he totally breaks him. He totally breaks the national champ of the UAE, his first practice on an arm wrestling table.
I mean, that's mega, isn't it?
It's mega.
Mega.
After I beat the piss out of him twice.
Hey, beating Schoolboy is mega.
Yes, it's mega.
Mega. It's mega. I don't care what anybody says. That's mega.
Yes.
He's iron. How can you not? I love him. So this is my plea to arm wrestling, right? I think arm wrestlers and arm wrestling have not been the best in the past at being, and it's just, a lot of sports are guilty of this, okay? But arm wrestling is one of them. Where sometimes a guy comes in who's got that X factor. I think we need to be more welcoming.
Yes.
Welcome that person with open arms. Say, come on, mate, male or female, come on. We're going to show you, we're going to make you your best. Help them to reach their potential. Back them, support them. If you're on social media, get behind these guys. Let's see how far they can go. These guys need your support to become their best, to become the superstar that we all want to see. So guys like Eric, like Awa, when they come into the sport, and we do feel like, in the case of both these men that we're speaking about here, they're a little bit isolated. They're in a situation where they don't have the training opportunities. Don't try to beat these guys up, to burn them, to yield them, to get them into bad positions and potentially injure them. Allow them to arm wrestle. Allow them to learn those nuances, those technical skills that can push them to the next level. Because they're one of the chosen ones. You got to welcome these guys in. Let's see what we can do with them. Because by doing that, we find out who the next superstar is, you know. And that's what we need to do as a sport, to welcome these guys in. The Freaks are great.
We don't extreme about them. We just give them sport.
Even the lightweights too.
And then, you know, they will get better. But what you don't treat them like, oh, one of the best. Oh, now Khalid is the best in the world or something, you know. Just like we should keep the line, borderline good, you know, being sportive and, you know, extreming. You understand?
Yeah, I think it's recognition of the fact that the guy's got great potential, and we've got to mold that potential.
Devon, is it true that since you met Khalid, you're suggesting people for training to become a champion just to go work in a mechanic shop?
That's what I've said. These are words from my own mouth.
Yeah. Get yourself mending cars. Yeah. Anyway, to close up this episode, because we're at 1 hour, 17 minutes in, and I'm conscious I'm taking up your Sunday, guys. I want to go back onto Eric and just try and get trying to draw him out a little bit here. Eric, if the opportunity arises now to get into the World Arm Wrestling League, how keen are you to follow that, mate? Where's your head at now in terms of arm wrestling and your aspiration, mate, generally in that direction? Are we looking at Eric Spoto, the arm wrestler, going forward for the next few years, mate?
Yeah, I would take any match in WL. It wouldn't matter who it's worth. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen, right?
That's the split. Yep.
That's it.
Hey, will you wait for me? Will you wait for me and go to LA?
Oh shit! That was the match I wanted. That was the.
I'll come down in like maybe 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, get Mendy on the phone, set it up.
Yeah. What do you think? Could be fun, right?
A lot of fun.
Perez too, huh? You keep talking about Perez.
Let's leave Perez out of this.
Oh, that's too much.
That's a freak.
Mate, they are out there, and that's what this episode was all about. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap it up there, let these guys get on with the weekend, but I just want to say a massive thank you to a guest this week on In the Presence of Greatness. Mr. Engin Terzi, ladies and gentlemen, from Turkey. We'll be seeing Engin again back on here very soon. Our other one of our residents, it's Devon, No Limits Larratt of Canada.
Larratt.
There it is. You know, there's that skinny arm you keep talking about right there, Engin. There it is. Needs a tan. That's what he does need, mate. Let's just get himself in that sun and hanging around in the snow too long up there. And last but by no means least, ladies and gents, arm wrestling. Welcome back, Mr. Eric Spoto. Eric, absolute honour and a pleasure having you on here, mate. Thanks for taking the time, brother. Appreciate it very much. And I personally cannot wait to see you get in and get some blood in the water.
It was great, man. Thank you, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first visit to Supernatural Strength Channel and In the Presence, please like, share, subscribe, let everybody know about it. And until we see you next time, take it easy, peeps.
Take care.